All right, and I'm going to go ahead and let everybody in.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go and get started. Love it. All right. Hello, everybody. We're going to let everyone join us and we will get started here in a moment. Also, as a nice, oh, I'm hearing myself. Sorry. I ended the echo, but it's great to be reunited with all of you in SheBuilds land. I have hated to miss a few this week, but I will be here for the rest of it. And I know Javi did a wonderful job. He's incredible and loves this program just as much as all of us. So, I believe everyone's coming on in. So quick reminder to please use the Q&A for questions. And of course, hang out and interact in the chat. And I'm so excited for this webinar. I was just sharing with Padma that I thought it was a really important topic. They all are. But, it's easy to go about these 48 hours in a way that you could burn out. And having this as a pleasant, joyful experience is so important. So we're lucky to have another season one alum joining us and sharing her wisdom and her tips. So I will shut up now and let Padma take it from here. And thank you, Padma, for doing this.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here today. I'm Padmarchana Kandi, Director of Strategy and Programs at Future World Alliance. A Lovable SheBuilds Season 1 participant, community builder, and AI enthusiast. I'm so excited to be part of this SheBuilds Season 2 micro webinar lineup. First of all, thank you, Whitney, and Lovable for this opportunity. Xavier for managing all the operations. I know this is not easy to handle these on such big platform. Before I start, I have to acknowledge these micro sessions that were lined up this week have been incredible. If you haven't watched them, you should definitely go back and check them out. And if you have been following the sessions so far, you already know this. You have learned how to think like a founder, how to think like a designer, how to truly understand your users, and even how to stay centered in the emotional chaos of building something new. These felt like lenses you did not even realize you needed, right? So in season 1, we did not have this kind of runway. We were thrown directly straight into deep ends, no warm-ups, no scaffolding. So watching the way season 2 is being shaped with so much intentional guidance and support, I think this is really special and incredible. This is exactly the kind of foundation we need before any build-a-thon. So thank you, Lovable and Whitney, for the idea and the lineups. So with that said, everything you have learned so far has helped you think better. And today's topic, 0 to demo day, finish your build in 48 hours without burning out. This will help you to finish it. I'm assuming all of you, including me, at some point have had that idea that lived in our notes or somewhere in our head. The one we are excited about, the one we keep coming back to, but somehow life happens, chaos happens, and doubt creeps in, and the idea just stays as an idea. So today, in this session, my goal is really simple: to give you the structure that removes overwhelm, build momentum, and helps you finish strong on demo day. Okay, and before we jump into the topic, if we aren't connected, please use the QR code on the screen. It will directly take you to the link to my LinkedIn. I want to stay connected. Okay, let's jump in. All right. Before we even talk about the actual build, I want to give you one mindset shift that removes almost all of the panic people feel in 48-hour sprint. It is the Pareto principle or 2080 rule. 80-20 rule. If you know about this, just put them in the chat. I would love to hear about it. And if not, let me explain. It says the right 20% of the prep today removes 20%, removes nearly 80% of tomorrow's cognitive overwhelm. And this can be achieved by following a simple checklist. You can see in the diagram here, these are the 5 checklists. Don't worry, this checklist is not busy work or extra steps. It's the force multiplier that makes the next 48 hours calmer, clearer, and genuinely doable. Okay, making everything on the demo day lighter. Let's have a look. Starting with the first checklist, define your MVP, that is a minimum viable product. Okay. When I say minimum viable product, I don't mean a polished mini product or a feature bucket. Inside a 48-hour sprint, your MVP has a very specific meaning, and that is where the MVP triangle becomes your anchor. Let's see what it is. The MVP triangle has 3 sides: time, quality, and scope. Time, that is fixed for 48 hours, it's not moving. Quality must meet a minimum bar. It has to work even if it's not pretty. And the scope, the only side you can actually shrink. So if time is logged and the quality has a floor you cannot go below, that means scope is the only variable you're allowed to play with, right? And this is where most people get into trouble during build-a-thons. They try to pour a gallon of idea in a 48-hour bucket. And just like in the image in the right, you can see I have shown it as the bucket MVP, where the scope expands, it leaks into everything else. You run out of time, you compromise quality, you enter scope creep, chaos, right? So here's the mindset shift you need to anchor upon. Your job is not to build everything you imagine. Your job is to find the smallest version that delivers the real value. Think of it like sculpting. You're not adding, you're actually cutting down until only the meaningful core remains. And a tight MVP doesn't make your idea smaller, it makes your idea sharper. Okay, and once you get this right, the rest of the 48 hours becomes dramatically easier because every decision now has a filter to anchor upon. That is, you can always think on, does this belong to this MVP triangle, or is it a distraction? If it doesn't serve the core flow, it goes out. This is important because this single discipline, defining your MVP properly, prevents burnout, prevents confusion, and protects your build from collapsing under its own weight. Okay, got it? And the next one in the checklist is mapping your user journey. And this is where people accidentally make their build way harder than it needs to be. Because in your head, the user can do 10 different things. Open the app, explore features, try different ideas, switch paths, etc., etc. But in a 48-hour prototype, that level of complexity becomes impossible to ship. So instead, you anchor yourself to what I call the 1-1-1 rule. One user, one problem, and one outcome. That's it. If you cannot express your entire product in that simple flow, the scope is already too big and you cannot handle it within that 48 hours window. The diagram on the right perfectly explains what I just mentioned about. Start with one specific user, not everyone, not students, not women. Okay, one persona with one lived reality. Then choose one problem that they actually struggle with, something real, something felt, something you can solve in one sitting. And finally, define one outcome, the moment of satisfaction. What should success feel like for this user after using your prototype? When these 3 align, user satisfaction becomes more authentic. When they don't, you end up designing for 5 audiences, solving 10 problems, and building something that feels blurry for everyone, including you. So truly, the beauty of mapping this early is that it gives your build a spine, right? If the feature doesn't move the user from point A to point B in your 1-1-1 flow, it simply doesn't make it within that 48-hour vision. This clarity would protect your time, your energy, and your sanity. Because remember, in a short sprint, the simplest user journey is always the strongest one. All right. The next in the checklist is writing simple test cases. Think of them, and when I say test cases, I don't mean anything complicated or technical. Think of them as tiny safety net you lay before the 48-hour sprint actually begins. Because here's what happens during the build-a-thon. You start building, and suddenly you get pulled into fixing UI things, tweaking copy, exploring new ideas, and so on. And before you even know it, you have drifted miles away from your core flow. So these test cases keep you anchored. You can do this by simply writing them in a Notion doc or any notes app. Here is the list of test cases for your guidance, right? The first one is core flow check. Ask yourself one question. Does my main flow work from start to finish without breaking? If your prototype solves one problem for one user, what are the exact 3 steps they should go through? That's what you test during the build, nothing more. Okay. And the second one is positive and negative paths. This sounds fancy, but it just means that positive, what should happen, and negative, what must not happen. For example, if the user clicks a button, should it proceed? And if they skip something, should the system stop them? These tiny checks prevent time-consuming demo day surprises. And the third, minimal documentation. This is important. Your test cases should not look like a QA manual. They should be simple, so that even at like 2 a.m., when your brain feels like mashed potatoes, you can still run through them quickly. Why? Because your goal is not to test everything. Your goal is to make sure that the core experience never breaks down. Okay? And why, you may ask why this actually matters. This matters because test cases sound small, but they save hours during your build. They keep you focused, they stop you from wandering, they catch mistakes early, and they ensure your demo actually makes sense. Does that make sense for you guys? Just give me a thumbs up if it does. Okay, let's go to the next one in the quick market scan. And here I want to emphasize the word quick, right? When people hear market research, they imagine hours of digging, competitive analysis tables, user persona decks, and so on. But in 48 hours build, that's the fastest way to waste your precious time and burnout even before you start. But in this step is not about exhaustive research. It's about directional clarity. What you're doing here is simply grounding your idea in reality so that you don't spend 48 hours building something that nobody needs. Okay, here is what a meaningful market scan could look like. Identify competitors. First one is identifying your competitors. Just the top 2-3, not to copy them, but to understand what their problem is, what the problem they are solving, how they frame the value, and what gap they might be missing. This instantly gives you a map of the terrain. Okay, and the second one is review key features, but lightly. Look at patterns, not details. What does all solution in this space tend to include? This helps you avoid reinventing the wheel and gives you a sense of baseline expectations. Third, validate assumptions in minutes, not hours. Ask yourself again, does someone else already consider this real problem? Are people paying for something like this? If yes, that's a validation. If no, then that's also useful. Maybe because maybe your angle is more niche and more creative. Okay. And the fourth one is identify gaps. That is where your opportunity hides. You don't need a huge gap. You need a specific underserved moment in the user's journey. Maybe competitors are too broad. Maybe onboarding is confusing. Maybe no tool supports a specific workflow you care about. And those gaps help you shape a tighter and smarter MVP. All right. The last piece of your 48 hours prep checklist is, this seems tiny, but it saves the most time during the actual build. It's preparing your assets. Think of this as laying out all your ingredients before you actually start cooking. Because once the time starts, you don't want to waste even your 5 minutes looking for something you could have prepped earlier, right? So here's what I mean. When I say prepare your assets, the first thing in my list is the UI sketches, which is rough is enough. These aren't Figma masterpieces, just simple sketches showing roughly what goes in each screen, where the core connection sits. When you when you enter lovable with this ready, the build becomes plug and play instead of guess and revise, right? And next is the screenshots, your visual references. Collect any screenshots that inspire your design or help clarity in your flow. Having them ready helps you give lovable better instructions and prevent you from redesigning rabbit holes. And the third one is value proposition, your one-liner clarity. Write down one crisp sentence. That is, this product helps user achieve outcome by core action. Here, the user outcome and core action are variable and interchangeable. This becomes your anchor. Every time you get distracted by a shiny feature, this one line should be your backbone. Okay. And next is the problem statement, which is your North Star. Articulating the problem clearly gives you focus on solving the right thing. In the 48 hours build, clarity is not optional, it is the fuel. Okay. And the last one in the checklist is demo upload destination. Decide now, not later. Whether it is Loom, YouTube, or any other AI video generation tools, decide your upload platform in advance. Create an account, test your microphone, do a dry run, because trust me, you don't want technical drama at 11:15 p.m. on the demo day. This will save a lot of time for you. Okay. Okay, these are the 5 checklists you need to prep before 48-hour build. And this is really important and it really matters because tiny decisions create micro delays and micro delays create overwhelm and overwhelm slows your build. So when you prepare these checklists early, you walk into the 48-hour sprint feeling equipped and confident, creating speed. So remember, prep is confidence and confidence is speed. Always remember that. All right. So now that we have walked through the checklist, I want to zoom out and give you the mental model that actually keeps your 48 hours build sane, right? Everything that we just discussed, the MVP, the user journey, the test cases, they all ladder up into one simple truth. That is, you cannot build everything within 48 hours sprint. You can only build one thing well. And that's where, again, the 1-1-1 rule becomes your anchor. It forces you to choose one user, the person you're solving for, one problem, the pain that truly matters, and one outcome, the win you want to deliver. When you make these 3 decisions clear, everything becomes lighter. The scope, the design, and even the overflow. Okay? All right. Now, this isn't just a cute framework, the 1-1-1. There is a psychology and a product strategy baked into it. The 1-1-1 rule works because it reduces cognitive load. Like you stop juggling 12 different ideas at once. It prioritizes efforts wherein it saves your energy and it actually takes it where it goes. It actually counts. Third, it increases speed. Small scope is equal to faster progress. Fourth, it improves user experience because clarity sharpens everything, right? And 5 is it facilitates iteration because changing one thing is easy and changing 10 things is impossible during that 48 hours build. This is why people follow this rule, build faster and build better. And I want you guys to have this in your mind to use the rule 1-1-1 whenever you get distracted. And like any other great rule, there are traps, even for this 1-1-1 rule. Okay. When a mentor builds, there are these are the 4 behaviors that actually break their sprint. First, analysis by paralysis. That is overthinking because you won't commit. Second, fear of missing out, FOMO, adding features that doesn't matter. Third, lack of user research, solving the wrong thing beautifully. And the last one is rigidity, following the rule so strict that you forgot to adopt. So remember, your job isn't to follow the 1-1-1 rule. Your job is actually to apply it wisely. Okay? Give me a thumbs up if you agree with me. Okay? Now that you have done the prep, you are carrying the right mindset. Let's talk about the actual 48 hours, what happens in the actual 48 hours. Okay, one of the biggest mistakes builders make is assuming the next 48 hours should look like a marathon, and that is wrong. Your brain doesn't perform best that way. It performs best in cycles. That's where the cognitive load theory comes in. So here's how day one of morning is intentionally structured. First one, finalize 1-1-1. Before you touch a single tool, lock your foundation first. One user, one problem, one outcome. This should be your North Star for every decision you make in next 48 hours. Second, generate your first lovable draft. This is not the final draft. This is your first messy version that captures the spirit of what you're actually building. Think of it like a sketch. Quick, loose, expressive. Okay, you're giving your idea its first physical form. And the third one, delete 70%. This is where you get powerful. Most drafts are bloated. Your next job is to remove everything unnecessary until only the essential value remains. Cut unnecessary features, cut unnecessary flows, bring clarity to what to accelerate you, right? And the fourth one is outline the core task flow. Once the noise is removed, map the actual steps your user will take. Not every possible path, just the core journey. Make this as your blueprint. 5, the next 2 are really important, but are very underrated. Take a walk. I highly suggest this. Your brain needs oxygen as much as your product does. So a short walk resets your cognitive load, sharpens thinking, and helps you spot gaps you missed. Okay. And the next important thing is hydrate. This sounds simple, but dehydration tanks your focus without you noticing. So a clear brain is your biggest competitive advantage in a sprint like this. Okay, so day one morning is not about perfection, it's about momentum. This structure ensures you start fast without frying your brain, so the rest of your 48 hours feels manageable, exciting, and doable. Okay. Now that you have built momentum through the morning, the evening is where everything starts to feel real. This is the momentum where your draft slowly transforms into actual product. And the goal for the evening is simple: stabilize what you built, test early, get feedback, and set yourself up for a calm day 2. This is not an all-nighter. This is a structured wind down. Okay, here is the sequence of tasks. First, connect primary screens. We are not polishing, we are just connecting them. Link your core screens so your prototype feels like real flow. This gives you a 50% of the wow factor for the demo day. Okay, and the second one is write copy. At this stage, copy matters more than design. Write simple, clear text so that your user understands what the product does without much explanation. Third, test early and often. This is a secret weapon of a successful 48-hour build. Test after every tiny connection. Don't wait until everything is done. Small tests prevent big regrets. Okay. Fourth, share your build. Share your rough draft to 1 or 2 trusted people, not for validation, but to catch the blind spots before they become expensive. And 5, gather feedback. Here, when I say gather feedback, you only ask 3 questions, right? What was confusing? What was delightful? And did anything feel unnecessary? This keeps feedback lightweight and actionable. And 6, ensure end-to-end flow. Before you wrap up the night, walk through the prototype from entry to outcome. If you can complete the journey without friction, you are ahead of 80% of the builders. Okay. And the 7th one, join optionable sessions. If Lovable or your cohort is hosting optional sessions, dip in, even for 10 minutes, do this. You will get clarity, new ideas, and sometimes even the emotional fuel. Okay. And the eighth one, and the most important one, sleep early. Please sleep. Your tired brain produces features nobody asked for. So a rested brain ships well. Remember, day one is not about the speed, it's about setting tomorrow up for success. If the morning builds clarity, the evening builds confidence. And together, they create a day two where execution feels light, focused, and fun. Got it? Let's go to day two. Okay, sorry. Before that, this is my favorite slide I want to talk about before going to day two. Despite everything we do, the prep, the planning, the framework, the focus, there is still one thing none of us can fully avoid. And you know what it is, and that is imposter syndrome. It doesn't matter whether you are a first-time builder or someone who has shipped products for years. At some point during that 48-hour sprint, this voice shows up. And it sounds like this. Is my idea even good? Do I really belong here? Everyone seems ahead of me, right? Sorry, my bad. Okay, and but here's the truth. I want you to really sit with this. If you're here, you weren't randomly selected. You were chosen from 1,700 people after multiple rounds of interview. Multiple rounds of review. I know this because I was one of the reviewer, and it was not easy to choose only a few of the design, few ideas. Okay. And don't forget, someone believed in your idea even before you started building it. Right. So when that self-doubt kicks in, remember, you're not fighting for a spot here. You already have earned your spot. So this side walks us through what I'm trying to say. From the first moment of doubt to acknowledging you were selected, to recognizing that reviewers saw your potential in you, to finally reaching that stage of self-belief. This is what I call the confidence loop, right? Action, feedback, and belief. Confidence isn't something you have before you start. It's something you generated by showing up, taking one step at a time, and letting the feedback reinforce your belief. So next time when your mind says, I don't belong, I want you to counter it with this. I was chosen, I'm capable, and I'm building it. Okay? Give me a heart or a thumbs up if you agree with me. Okay, thank you. All right. So, all right, now let's get back to day two. Now that day one has given you the momentum, you have a working draft, your core flow, your early feedback, and most importantly, the clarity. Here, day two is where intention matters more than intensity, because this is the day you shift from building fast to refining smart. And here's the principle guiding us for day two, that is progressive reduction. Meaning you don't polish everything, you polish the right things. Think of day two as sculpting again. Yesterday we shaped the block. Today we reveal the form inside it. And every step you take should move the product closer to clarity, not complexity. Okay. As in this visual for day two, you're not adding more. You're making what you already have built sharper, lighter, and more lovable. Every layer of refinement removes friction, improves flow, and makes your demo feels more intentional. Because the goal isn't perfection here. The goal is a demo that feels thoughtful, coherent, and deeply user-centric. Okay? All right. Now that we have refined with intention, that's there is one last stretch, the submission itself, right? This is where the 111 rule quietly becomes your superpower again. Because submission is not about doing more, it's about making sure the story of your build lands clearly, confidently, and cohesively. So let's walk through this final sequence. The part most people rush, but the part that actually shapes how your work is understood. First, gather the build. Before anything else, pause and gather everything, your screens, your prototype link, your notes, your flows, everything. This is your meta 111 moment. Okay, one place, one folder, one version. It immediately reduces cognitive load and future confusion. Second, record yourself, record the video. A strong video is not about editing skills, it's about the clarity. Think of it as one user, one problem, one outcome, told through one simple walkthrough. Record it like you're explaining it to a friend who has never seen your idea before. It is as simple as that. Third, answer questions. The submission questions aren't hoops to jump through. They are prompts that help reviewers see your thinking. So slow down, answer thoughtfully, and make the invisible decisions visible. Fourth, developing narrative. This is where you give your project a heartbeat. A narrative isn't fluff, it's the bridge between what you built and why it matters. Keep it crisp, keep it human, and anchored to the 111 structure. One user, one need, and one outcome. Okay? Next, clean walkthrough. A clean walkthrough is a kindness to your reviewers. Okay, please make sure you do this properly. Short sentences, crisp steps, no jargons, no zigzags. It's your way of telling them, here, let's make this easy for you. Okay, and next, submit the project. And finally, submit, right? This step feels small, but it's actually the moment where ambition becomes reality. Because the unfinished brilliance isn't brilliance at all. Finished work is what changes things. And by the time you reach this step, you have already done the thinking, refining, and aligning that makes your submissions shine. And here, I want to make sure a point to be remembered here is submission isn't the finish line, it's your proof of courage. It is you saying, I showed up, I built something real, and my idea deserves a place in the world to be seen. Okay? Next. And with all of this, I want to leave you with one last reminder. Tools matter, prep matters, structures matter, but your mindset is the real engine behind everything you build. What you bring to this challenge is your curiosity, your grit, your willingness to try again. That's what makes you a builder. So as you step into the demo day, I want you to carry one thing with you. You are far more ready than you think. You have done your prep. You have built your intention with intention. You have refined with purpose. And now it's your turn to show the world what you have created. With this, I think I have gone through everything that I had in mind. And I'm genuinely cheering for every single one of you who is going to be in this build-a-thon. And remember, you got this. Good luck and thank you so much for your time and joining the session. If you're not connected again, just use the QR code on the screen. It will take you to the LinkedIn and I would love to be in connection with you. Ping me if you have any questions.
Oh, wonderful. Are you okay on time? Can we ask a few questions?
Yes, I haven't seen the chat at all. Sorry for that.
No, that's okay. I didn't want to interrupt you. You were on a roll. Someone asks if they've never used Figma, would you still recommend using it for the planning?
If you have time, because it's going to be starting from the next week, definitely you can try it out. But as I said, Lovable is such a good platform. Even with just rough sketches, you can always have the feature and the screen that you're looking for. So definitely Figma is recommended if you're comfortable in building up that acquaintance with it. But if not, you're not lagging behind. You can use simple tools and even the simple sketches, handwritten designs for that.
Great. And then someone asks, and I'll do a very brief answer on this one, if Lovable has the capability to have an LLM connected with it. If you are asking about connecting an LLM for the planning, um, you you cannot connect it for the planning. You could use our chat mode though, which pulls from all of the various LLMs. If you want to use an LLM in your build, so for example, if you want somebody to be able to generate dog photos, which is something I did, then you can connect it via API key or through Lovable Cloud. That is a built-in integration. But Sylvia, I would suggest maybe if you can clarify in the if you're in Discord channel, that would be helpful, and then we can you'll have a lot of tips on that.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah, someone mentioned in the chat saying they can use Miro for Figma or Canva.
oh,
Yeah, all these are very good ones. Definitely.
oh, great. And then the Padma, the 48-hour prep checklist and MVP triangle were super helpful. Would it be possible to get a link to the presentation or PDF of
Yes,
the
I
slides?
will be sharing. I'll send it over to Whitney if she can share it in the email, or even I'll share it in the Discord channel as well. Sure.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, wonderful. And great. I think we are all set. I do see there is one question about the submission. That information, you'll get a very detailed breakdown of what to do for the submission. So you will have that clarity. You did not miss anything. It just hasn't been delivered yet. We're trying to stage some pieces so that it's not complete overwhelm. But thank you so much, Padma. I know that you're in Discord and are very kind and always willing to meet and help people. So everyone, round of applause. I see hearts
Thank
are
you so much.
starting.
This was fun.
So thank you. I hope everybody, I know, I mean, those visuals were great. I was looking at them like, oh, look at that. So
Yeah.
well
So that is
done.
one more AI tool called napkin.ai. It's actually a wonderful tool. You can just give your text and create the visuals the way you want. So I usually work around a lot of AI tools, try to see how the presentations can be much more better looking and better designing. So that's one tool that I always go back to. It's very easy to use.
Yes. And if you have visited shebuilds.lovable.app, Padma's build, the Community Pulse, is one of the projects linked on there. So you can
Yeah.
see her
It's a
work
wall
in
of
action.
love that is linked part of it. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yes, yes. So everybody, thank you so much, Padma. Again, thank you for
Thank
the wonderful
you.
presentation. And everyone, just keep an eye on your inbox, and you will be seeing things over the weekend and then Monday. So everybody, take
Good
care.
luck, everyone. Thank
Have a
you.
wonderful
Bye.
day.